But on that note, let's get her rocking and rolling. Let me
Yeah, people got
see.
some labor. They got some labors to get to attend to this weekend.
That's right, like grilling and enjoying the sun and that kind of stuff, right? Um, well, hey, we already said welcome, but welcome again. Exciting week. Holy shnikes. We have a lot moving and shaking. We met with a ton of people. And we've already been talking about this, but congrats to you new producers this week. So it's always one of our favorite things to see people breaking through for the first time. So we had Julie Marcellus, Gary Burrows, Chanel Collins, and we've already been talking to Miss Nicole Shan. So amazing job, all you four breaking through for the first time. We want to touch base on this again, Dave. I'm going to kick it to you for this MedSup referral bonus because we did have four new brokers referred to us this week, by the way. So some funds will be coming shortly. But in case you're wondering what we're talking about, Dave, go for it.
Yeah, so guys, we've talked about it a few times on calls now, but Aflac's MedSup right now is priced 1, 2, or 3 basically in about every market in the country. The West primarily saw no rate increases at all. So there's a lot of buzz about getting Aflac, getting appointed with Aflac, and they have to go through an FMO to get it, a currently contract FMO to get it. We just happen to be one of those that fall in that place. So, you guys are all licensed with Tier 1. You can go sell MedSup. It's a fairly simple product. You need to do a little learning on it. But if you're not up for that, you happen to work with a broker, a MedSup agent somewhere, and you want to just like, hey, you want to get a contract with Aflac, biggest brand, best price in the business right now. Before open enrollment begins coming in October, I got an agency that you can work with. You send them our way. When they write 3 apps, $500 per agency. So if you guys know some people, you want to send them our way, it's as simple as sending Paul, myself, Jesse an email introduction, and we do the rest. So if you guys just have a single producer, just you happen to know a MedSup agent, they want to do it, and we bring on just a single producer, same thing, except it's $100 for a single producer. So agency and producer, you want to send somebody our way, it's an easy way. That's an easy way to make $100 or $500 if it's an agency. So anyway,
Absolutely.
there's our MedSup referral bonus.
To give you an idea again on how to do it, just yesterday morning, we have a producer. Many of you may know her, Miss Marcy Otis. She was at a MedSup kickoff for APE coming up around the corner. And while she was there, I texted her. I said, "Hey, by the way, you should just recruit while you're there. Why not?" So her way of recruiting was simply she would text me their name and their email. Like to talk to them, they're ready to go. So we'd kick them an email. Got 2 of them got contracted already. So it's pretty simple process. If you know them, easy way for you to make some money. We have a few exciting things as well as we mentioned. Jesse's been working on our Tivoli partnership. Jesse, I'm going to turn it to you, Mr. DeGraff, to talk through this.
Yeah, Tivoli's a PNC brokerage, and they are very active in the market. They generate about 120,000 leads a month. And so when you're talking about,
leads, by leads, guys, he means commercial property and casualty leads, not our type of leads.
Yeah. But what we saw was a partnership to where they could also steer these business owners and these key decision makers to get a life option, right? So what we're launching this next week is they will start email, text, and contact campaigns to try to steer them our way. When that happens, we're going to give them the ability to either talk to an insurance advisor or use a self-service quote enrollment tool with our partners. What's exciting about this is we are having a contact with a business owner that perhaps might also need other services. So this is exciting for just as an OSA partnership to see that we'll have the opportunity to get in front of more business owners. So we're really excited about that. It's a national campaign. That's a lot of leads per month. We don't know what the click-through will be, but we expect it to be very high. So hold tight for more updates on that.
All right. Awesome. That's going to be pretty great, especially if you have a little bit of worksite business as well. Of course, you can parlay that lead into a worksite case for you. Volume wise, we've already spoken about it. But one thing that was super exciting for me is the level of interest that they gauge. So they went back, they sent an email to previous leads, and they had a 40% read rate, which when you know emails, that's crazy, right? Dave's spoken about it a gazillion times. 14% is good, right? So 40% is unreal. So we're excited to see what that's going to produce here. A few other things that we have been working on. I know we've got a few worksite folks on here, but the final 4 months, as we mentioned last week, are absolutely bananas. So we've been working, Bo in particular has been working on leveraging Agent One to go through and set up those employer meetings for you so that you can bring in that MassMutual product offering, which you're going to see a boost of at least $2,000 per open enrollment by leveraging that. Bo, I will kick it to you, fine sir, to speak to this.
Yeah, so one of the things that we really wanted to do is help you guys out because, three of us having a background with Aflac, well, I guess all four of us having a background with Aflac, we know the struggles of just the persistency and the consistency and you guys know how it is. It's like you go, and you forget so many little things that are so important to maintain a relationship. So one of the things we wanted to do is help you guys automate your annual open enrollment experience with your clients. And for us to justify the cost of sending the emails, text, whatever we get set up, we also want to offer the MassMutual Whole Life product, because not only is that going to help you get into your enrollment, it's going to give you access to those clients as well. So the employer is going to be helping you get in front of every single person because, well, you got it if you're selling a new product, right? In addition to that, what it's going to be doing is putting a lot more money in your pocket than a typical re-enrollment would. And so that's going to be fantastic for you. So what we have on the screen here is just kind of an example of what we have set up. So this would be a 4 email chain. We'll send them out at different increments of time there, like 90 days, 60, 30. And then of course, when it's too late, we can send them a, hey, what's up? And maybe grab them at the last minute there. But what, it's nothing super fancy. But what it is it's leveraging our tools to automate your work and save you time, especially when, some of you out there that have been with Aflac for a long time, you got more than 80 accounts. And what they say statistically is about 80 is the max that people can manage until they kind of lose their sanity. So if you are a leader at Aflac, have more than that, you should consider this. If you have less than that, you should consider this. Let's get together. Let's talk. Let's see how we can help you automate your business doing emails like this to help get you guys in front of your clientele and get you those open enrollments and help you hit your goals for persistency and make some extra money.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Love it, Bo.
Hey guys, quick note, it does not have to be Aflac. If you've got another campaign, I know like Dillman, you've had other groups in the past. They don't have to be Aflac open enrollments. If you've got a book of clients that you want to reach back out to, talk to us. The tools are bought and paid for, guys, and so we are happy to help you get back in front of your clients. We just ask for you to offer a product that, of course, we can make a few bucks on. So anyway, if you've got clients or you've got an idea of a pool of clients that you want to go touch, a trade association, something that you want to go after, that maybe you've been hands off on in the past, have a conversation with us. Reach out to us. We'll help you develop a campaign and let's go. The marketplace is wide open. And we're going to talk about that today too.
Yeah, absolutely. We purchased the tools. We just need to use them, right? So get creative. I know we've had some great conversations with a few of you this week on thoughts that you've had, thoughts that we were not thinking of. And so we love the collaboration, the creativity. So the ocean is big and blue with our opportunity, right? So into the meat of today's meeting, Dave, I'm gonna turn it back to you, fine sir,
Yeah.
to speak a little bit about life insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I dive right in, guys, I don't know if any of you have taken Transamerica apps. Carla, I know you've done Transamerica apps. Celeste has congratulations to Celeste. She's written on 2 different carriers this week, both Transamerica and Corebridge. And way to be persistent, because we know you had you had some rough applications. Guys, we have access to about every carrier in the marketplace. We are engaging with Mutual of Omaha. Compensation's about par with Transamerica and Aflac, so comp doesn't really change much. We just want to look at the product and make sure. So we want business to be as easy as possible for you guys. So that's part of why we keep looking at other lead sources and other places to find business. Same thing with our carriers. So Jesse and I are going to be spending on Paul. We're going to spend a little time with Mutual of Omaha next week, get understanding their product. And I'll tell you what, if it's an easier application to take than Transamerica, it's another big brand that is a trusted brand that pays their claims and does what they're supposed to do. We're going to do a little research on that. So if any of you do want to go down that Mutual, Jesse loves when I say more contracts. That makes him so excited.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, if any of you are interested in taking a look, once we kind of vet out Mutual of Omaha's product and have a clear understanding where it fits in our kind of book, we'll make sure you guys are aware of that. But if you're interested in hey, I want a Moo contract, and it's just fun to say Moo, let's go. So anyway, all right. Gentlemen, I'm going to mute you for a second, buddy. Anyway, so guys, have you guys ever, you go to the gas station and then there's the jar sitting on the front counter of the gas station, and it's always got a sad story, right? Like, help this person that were in a car accident or whatever the case may be, right? So today the gas station jar is not as popular. I date myself saying that. I realize that. But some of you smiled, so I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Today's jar is a digital jar. Today's jar is this one. You guys have all seen this page before, right? GoFundMe. So I did this little experiment this morning. So I want you to watch this. You see the word I searched? Funeral. I'm not on mute, by the way. I just wanted you guys to see faces. Look at 500 plus more results. It's another full page. 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 Guys, these are all folks that, and you look at how much some of these families have raised or friends have raised, to help these folks. It doesn't matter which one of these stories you go look at. They're tragedies. They're all tragedies. And, the folks that are reaching out for, Rolando Melendez here or, John's Memorial Fund, they love and care about these people, and they have no option how to take care of them. And it's really interesting. The LIMRA study, I don't know if you guys are familiar with LIMRA. LIMRA is like the largest trade association for life insurance, right? It's Life Insurance Marketing and Research Association is LIMRA. By the way, if you wanted to join an association, that would be a good one for you guys. But LIMRA released their study, and I'm going to show it to you guys here in a bit. But LIMRA released their study, and it's interesting of who needs coverage, right? But before I jump into their study, I want to talk about their 5 reasons why customers are wrong about life insurance, right? Why people think they don't need life insurance. And it's based off of their study. So COVID-19 had an interesting impact on life insurance. Number one, it changed actuarial tables, which hasn't happened in a really long time. But nearly 1/3 of customers, 31%, said that COVID made them more likely to buy insurance in the next year. A third. 50% more are more likely to buy simplified life insurance. Hey, do you guys know anybody who sells simplified life insurance? I hope the answer is yes. Carla does. So if you guys have referrals, I'm sure she'd be happy to take them. But you go to that GoFundMe page and you type in type in funeral, and guys, I mean, it is hundreds and they're sad, man. I mean, I was just I was showing Bo earlier that I was going to do this. I just started clicking in and reading some of these stories, and they are so sad, man. I mean, when you look at these people and why are they searching for life insurance? It's because people don't have money to put together. And so part of it is misconception. So when you think, when you go look at this LIMRA study, and I'm going to link it and you guys can have a copy of this LIMRA study here. But the number one reason why they don't
Hey,
buy
Dave,
life insurance,
we're not seeing your LIMRA study, by the way, if you're showing it. We're still seeing GoFundMe.
I'm not showing it yet.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I'm not showing it yet. I will though. But the number one reason why they say that they can't afford it. In fact, millennials, interesting enough, millennials. Do I have any millennials on the call? Yes, probably we do. Millennials are actually now the most concerned. But they overestimate the cost. They think life insurance is way more expensive than it actually is. In fact, you take, I don't know if you guys have gone and played around, like maybe in the TA quote tool, but you take a healthy 35-year-old non-smoker, they can buy a 10-year $1 million term policy for about $65 a month. $1 million, right? So as you look through these families and you go, how would $1 million change? How would $1 million change what's happening in any of these people's lives, right? Massive impact. But it is absolutely affordable, guys. And we've talked about it, especially even with the final expense. Sometimes we get big policies. Celeste sold one. We were running the commissions for her this morning. It was $142 a month, I think, is the number that Celeste gave me. That's a pretty big premium for that person, but they were 85 years old. But you guys, especially those of you who work in the work site, or you do get on the phone with and get in front of people who are in their 30s and 40s, man, you can $25, $30, $40. It buys a lot of insurance. So that's the number one reason, right? They think it costs too much. And like I say, millennials overestimate between 5 and 10 times what the actual cost is for life insurance. The second reason why is they think, you know what, I have enough life insurance. I have life insurance through work. Raise your hand if you guys have ever had life insurance. I can only see a few of you. Do you ever have life insurance from work? Sure, I did. The average life insurance through work is one-time salary. So if you start scrolling through back and we're looking back at my GoFundMe page and you go, okay, what if it's one-time salary for these families? How does that help? Heck yeah, it helps. But what does it do long-term? It's not really doing a whole lot for these people's families, one-time salary. Especially that doesn't cover anything like long-term goals for a family, college, any of those, a mortgage that they're dealing with. And if they leave their job, most of them don't get to take their life insurance with them when they leave their job. The next thing is, the third reason why is they just don't want to think about life insurance. Guys, the actual application component typically takes 15 to 20 minutes. Certainly they can dedicate less than an hour of their life to deal with this important subject. And you guys are all skilled salespeople who know how to talk to people and to make things feel better and smoother and easier. And then the last one, that I'm going to talk about is that they think that they've got enough assets to support. And that's probably true for about half of Americans. They've got enough assets to support, right? They could sell the house, they can do that other kind of stuff. So that leaves half of America that really, as adults, need life insurance, right? They think it's too intrusive. Guys, we can sell it up to $2 million without fluids, without a paramed. $2 million without a paramed. So I want to jump back in. So this is I'll get this out. Paul, in fact, if one of you guys could drop it in the chat so these guys could download it. I put it in our text thread. But here's the numbers from the LIMRA study. 42% of adults so they need more insurance. It's 102 million people. There you go. That's your addressable market, gang. 102 million people. We want to know who should have it. Look at this. Households earning under $50,000 a year. 56%. We were having this conversation yesterday with Celeste. 53% of Hispanic Americans, 49% of Black Americans, women. There's a massive gap between men who own insurance and women. When you guys look at who's buying our final expense product, it's 60-40 female. You guys, we're addressing that. There's a reason why that market is looking for it. This goes back to that reason that people are saying no is that they just think it's too expensive. They 54% base their life insurance. Right, this one shocked me. 54% base their life insurance costs on a gut instinct or a wild guess. They have no clue. It's way too expensive. They have no idea. Guys, I'll tell you, when I was selling Worksite, I did sell a lot of insurance, and I sold a heck of a lot of life insurance to people in their 20s and 30s, a ton of it. And the reason why is because, again, they're thinking how expensive it is. When I'm like, oh yeah, I can get you $250,000 for less than $20 a month, they're like, oh dang, it becomes very affordable. Guys, the generational shift is underway. The millennials, I mean, back when ACA was coming on board, they talked about millennials. They called them the young and bulletproof. That's what Congress called them back in the day. Young and bulletproof is no longer young and bulletproof because now millennials express the highest overall level of financial concern now. The millennials are growing up and they start realizing they aren't bulletproof and that cancer happens and accidents happen and stuff. And they're now starting to think about this stuff. They're getting families, they're getting mortgages. Life insurance is a great option for them. So you kind of look at the concern by generation as you kind of go through. Guys, this is where we address. Here's our men and women gap. So team, as you're out there talking to people and you talk to folks every single day, you guys, you look at the generations and you look at the gender gap, or you even look at all the demographics they look at. The funny thing is, it doesn't matter, because when you're sitting there, that half of America, a third of America is saying that they need life insurance, they want life insurance, and they just taking a wild guess at what the premium is. There's opportunity for us. So guys, I point this out because we're going into Labor Day weekend, and coming from the accident insurance world, 4th of July weekend is the number one accident weekend of the year. Memorial Day and Labor Day come in right behind. So unfortunately, some families are going to be devastated. And with life insurance, as you guys know, the sooner you get in, the cheaper it is. So you guys have the ability to do it. I talked about in the past about the Hawthorne effect. You guys remember talking about that? The lights getting brighter and darker. I talked. You guys remember that? Nod your heads if you guys remember hearing about that study. And that study found that as they changed light in a production environment, they told everybody that they were monitoring production and how light was impacting production. This is in World War II. And as they got it darker and darker, production kept going up and up and up. And then they tried moving it, going lighter and lighter and lighter, and production went up and up and up. It had nothing to do with light. It had to do with where their focus was. Their focus was on production. Guys, if your focus is on selling life insurance and you have conversations, Nicole Shands, she mentioned she was getting licensed to sell insurance. The policy she sold this week was somebody who knew, because she had a conversation, that she was getting licensed to sell insurance. You are surrounded by people, guys, who need this product, and you guys can solve a problem. And I want you guys to just think about that GoFundMe page. I can promise you guys this weekend, there's going to be more pages added to this weekend. More pages.
Here's something interesting with that too. I mean, you all know the average cost of a funeral, right? About between 15 and 20K. And there's very few that I'm seeing on there. That was in my head. There's very few that I'm seeing on there that are matching that number, right? So I want to share just a little bit here. Thanks, Dave. Awesome insight. We'll get that out to you guys. So first, I want to share just a dumb little story. If you've been on my Aflac team before, don't tune out because you've probably heard this before. So I've been married now 19 years, and my kids are asleep, so they don't know the story. So I'm free to say it. But went on a date with my wife, well, now wife, on a Friday, and we got engaged the next Friday. And my in-laws freaked out, by the way. So my in-laws, to give you an idea, my father-in-law is a third generation attorney in Arkansas. His firm was a little old house, so think like To Kill a Mockingbird, right? That's his firm. Dave, you remember his office.
Yep.
That's my father-in-law, right? Mother-in-law was a maternity nurse for 40 years, same place, never left. So of course they find out their oldest daughter is getting married. Of course we sit down. I would have dinner at their house every Sunday night, and every Sunday night I went through this interrogation. So the interrogation was, what do you? Well, the first one was, what do you do for a living? And I went, well, I'm an insurance. I sell insurance. And they're like, oh boy. I remember meeting with my father-in-law, and he is so well connected all throughout that area. And of course, my mind's thinking he's going to be able to introduce me to everybody. And I go meet with him to ask him if he would refer me to people. And he's like, oh, hell no. I'm not bringing you into anyone that I know. And he never brought me into anyone that he knew, by the way. But every week, I would get that interrogation over Sunday dinner until we got married. What are you doing? When are you going to go get a real job? You know, Paul, it'd be really great to be able to go work for a corporation. There's a lot of them around here. This is Fayetteville, Arkansas. So there's like Tyson Chicken, Walmart, Walmart, everything down there, right? So every week was that. So besides the fact that we got engaged very quickly, my father-in-law, truth be told, did think that she was pregnant. That's not true. But why do you think that was the interrogation I was getting every Sunday? You can put it in chat. You can come off mute. Why do you think that's the case?
They're concerned for her security.
Yeah, and why so, Nicole?
With insurance, you have your up and downs. It's not steady. So you may not have at that time what you need to address that need.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Any other guesses or thoughts? That's not a guess. That's true too, Nicole, what you just said. Any other thoughts?
I was just thinking, used to have a big stigma against you. I mean, just saying insurance. I mean, people just automatically thought you were sleazy and,
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. And not just insurance, but sales, right? So I did not find this out, by the way, until last summer. But all the way up until my mother-in-law was driving my wife to the ceremony, she told my wife, it's not too late. We can cancel right now. Anything that we put into this, it does not matter. You can walk away right now. She told me that last summer. I'm like, oh, thanks. But I'll tell you a changing moment for my in-laws is my mother-in-law had an offer to change jobs, to follow a doctor to go work in his private clinic as opposed to working for the hospital. So she had me look at her 401k and look at everything she'd be giving up. And I remember leaving that conversation with my mother-in-law and telling my wife, wow, at the time, my mother-in-law had been working there for like 27 years or something like that. I'd been working with Aflac for 5 or so. And I remember, or I've been in the insurance game 5 or so, right? So I remember telling my wife, oh my gosh, you want to know the crazy thing is when I'm looking at what she's amassed for her retirement over that time frame versus what we've amassed in the insurance industry over the time frame, there's no comparison to what we're building here, right? So Carla, I think you nailed it on the head. Sales in society, sales is kind of one of those things where people look at like, oh, he went into sales or she went into sales because they couldn't do anything else, right? That exists. So with that, the reason why I bring that up is that still exists today, right? I mean, you've all done this before. You've all gone into, you want to buy a product. Like I use this one all the time. It's another true story. When I first got married, I bought a TV from Dave. Dave, you remember that beastly TV that you that you had? It was like the old school big screen TVs that are massive boxes and weigh like 3 tons. So we moved from Arkansas to Oregon to Idaho to Utah. And every single move, I prayed that that TV would fall off the moving truck because it was indestructible and I hated it. And I wanted a new flat screen TV. But the deal I made with my wife was we won't buy a new flat screen TV until this breaks. We moved to Idaho, and I kind of am pushing it a little bit. I'm not gentle with this thing. I mean, you can't be gentle with it anyway. It weighs like 3 tons. But anyway, I get a message from my wife one day. I'm at work, and the TV won't turn on. And I was like, yes, glory, hallelujah, right? So I go into the electronics store. I'd already done all the research. I knew everything that I wanted. I knew the TV, right, that I was going to go buy. And I walk in the door, and the salesperson greets me right when I walk in and they say, hey, can I help you? And you guys know what I say, right? No, nope, just looking, I'm good, right? You all know this story. You've all done this before. So even though I was 100% a buyer, I was 100% a consumer, I knew exactly what I wanted to buy. When the salesperson came to me, I shut them down, right? And I navigated through this place all the way until I couldn't get it down. I had to talk to the salesperson. So keep this in mind. When we're calling leads, these people know what they want to buy, right? And based on what Dave just said, why are people buying? Why did they jump online and fill out these leads and answer 14 questions about themselves? Why did they do that? Why do you think? Go ahead and spit it out. I'll be awkwardly silent here for a little bit. I do want to hear from you guys.
Well, some of
They
them do
want
it out of
they want the product. Sorry.
Yeah, so they want the product. And Dixon, what were you saying?
Well, some people do it because they're curious, or they're wasting time, or they're not committed to what they're really doing. They'll just fill it out because it pops up on Facebook and, boom, they fill it out, but they're really not that intent. It's just something for them to do, and they move on to the next ad on Facebook.
They could. There could certainly be some of those. Yeah, I would say. 14 questions are pretty in depth, though, I will say. Sorry, who was that?
Not all of them. I'm just saying some.
Yeah, for sure. Nicole, were you commenting?
Shopping around.
Yeah, shopping around. And
Well,
Dave's. Oh, sorry. Is there another comment?
yeah,
Nick,
Mr. Nick here. Hey, it's just like some worksite products. Like somebody goes, "Hey, where's that Aflac guy? I want the cancer plan or the accident plan," because they've experienced on the life insurance. They've either gone through it or they've seen somebody go through what life insurance could have done for that person.
Yeah, and so you mentioned that they've either gone through it themselves or they've witnessed somebody go through that. Is that a logical decision or an emotional decision?
Emotional.
It's an emotional decision, right? And so most purchases are emotional, right? And then what happens is we jump onto these calls with these leads. And the first thing that we combat the fact that they don't want to be sold, and our status truly is a little bit lowered because we're salespeople, right? So that happens. So we already have to combat that, and then our behavior supports that typically, right? Here's what I mean by that: is we bend over backwards to jump on whatever time they want to do something, right? Like, how many of you have had this so far? Have you been into it? I've had this as well, where they're like, oh, I'm too busy right now, but can you call me Sunday at 5? Like, what? That's the last thing I want to be doing Sunday at 5, right? But I'll catch myself saying, sure, why not? I'll throw that on the books, right? And so when we change our behavior, we change our status and our level of thinking of what we're doing and how we're helping people, which fits perfectly into what Dave just shared, right? All of those people on that GoFundMe page that you just witnessed, they're experiencing something highly emotional, right? And they don't want to go through that again. And they jump in and they fill out this lead to make sure that they don't have to feel those emotions like that ever again, right? And then here we come along. So when we're asking our questions, I'm really excited for those of you jumping into boot camp next week, because we're going to go through this. It's called neuro-emotional persuasive questioning. That's a mouthful. But we're going to talk a lot about how you
we're
ask
in
the right
insurance.
questions.
That should have an acronym. Come on.
It is. but I can't
There
tell
we
you
go.
what it is
Thank
right
you,
now.
Bo.
I've got a brain fart. NepQ. Thanks, Boski. But that we're going to be diving into that. How do you ask the right questions? How do you position yourself a little bit differently? There's one quick thing I want to share with you right here, because we get a lot of impactful data from those leads, and I think at times we can disregard it. So most of the time, most of us in sales, we're all a group of experienced salespeople on the call, right? Most of the time we follow that model on the left-hand side. We do a quick engagement, hey, my name's Paul. How's your day going? Whatever it may be. We have a few go-to surface level questions that we ask, really just to kind of break the ice, and it's our natural engagement, right? A lot of questions that we tend to ask, like, how's your day going? How are you doing? Do you have a few minutes to talk right now? A lot of the times when we're asking those questions, we're asking those, but they're not necessarily genuine. They may be genuine, but in their minds, great, I'm being sold, right? I have this person that's being chipper and friendly, and they're just trying to get me to like them so that I buy from them, right? So their defensive walls are up already, right? So we ask a few questions, we dive into the product, we spend a good amount of time on the product, ask a couple questions on how it fits your budget, and then we go for the close, right? So what we really want to flip, again, is we want to make sure that we're tying into the emotional side of their brains and decision making all the way through this process. And so what we're going to be teaching is how to focus so much more time on engagement. So talk to me if you purchase leads and you've gone through this, what's some of the information we know about these leads that would help us build trust with these folks?
Hobbies.
I'm going to go, what's that?
Their hobbies.
Hobbies. So why that seems like a funny thing to put on there, right? But why is that so impactful, and how can that help build trust?
It's something that is it's not terrifying to talk about. It's a passion of theirs. So it makes them feel it's more emotional for them to talk about something that they love.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys want to see passion, ask Dave about wake surfing, right? He's going to tell you everything about wake surfing, trim tabs, all kinds of things on boats. Like, well, all right, that's awesome, right? He's passionate about it. So it's a hobby, their passion, which is also an emotion, right? So the more you can talk about that, they are going to build trust. Okay, so we got hobbies. We know that. What else do we have that may be tied to emotion on those leads?
Beneficiary.
Yeah, that's a huge one, right? So why is that such a big deal to know that information?
Because it shows who they are concerned with to help with their final expenses if they die. They want that money to go to that individual because they'll know that they'll help clean up whatever financial responsibilities that they have.
Yeah, so
that's my take.
Yeah, I love it, Victor. So it's like you've been in sales for a while or something. You know, this
just
kind
a little bit.
So what are some questions that we could ask about why they have that beneficiary down? What would you think? We've got a lot of great sales minds on the call. What would be a question about the beneficiary you might ask?
Their relationship, whether it's a child or a wife or husband, son.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you ask about that, Nicole? So sometimes we see that, right? Like, for my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
So what might be a question we could ask about for my daughters?
Well, even if they're, school age, to help, you wanted to make sure that you had something left for them to not only take care of your burial, but to leave something behind for them because their passion was to go to this school. And if I'm not here, where's the money going to come from to take care of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if that's their passion, I mean, if you know that, that's very impactful, right? So how do we ask a question to dig into that so that we know that? What would be a question we could ask?
I mean, first you could just say, hey,
Go
Hey,
ahead.
Paul, tell me about your daughter. What's going on in her life and her family?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. You know, like it. And someone else was chiming in. I don't know who that was.
Maybe I was just thinking, just like what is the most important thing that you think of when you're leaving your loved ones behind? What are you wanting to make sure is done for them?
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Absolutely, right? The more we can get them talking about the why behind that beneficiary, the more emotion is going to come, which may sound a little manipulative, but they did this for a reason, right? They put that beneficiary for a reason. The better we can understand why, the better we can actually be a problem solver for them, as opposed to just a salesperson, right? That's pushing a product to them. And so you'll naturally start flowing into these questions, but I like to ask a simple question of, hey, I see on here you put for your daughters, you want to get something for your daughters. Tell me a little bit about that. So why are you thinking about life insurance for your daughters? And then they very likely will dive into something like Nicole just said, right? And so, hey, well, I'm concerned. They have this school that they're in. If something happens to me, I want to make sure that they can still go to that school. So you have that kind of information. You'll be able to bring it back in the conversation all the time, right? And so what it's going to do is it's going to help you prevent objections coming forward, right? And the more you understand that reason why, the other, if you saw that pyramid, the last thing on there, it said future pacing. Really what that is can you paint a picture for them in the future of what it would look like and bring it up? So, hey, Nicole, I'm happy that you're going through something like this. I'm here to walk through the process to make sure that your daughters are taken care of. And if something happens to you, they can go through that school. And then at the end, you can get to, hey, if they have a budget concern or something like that, hey, just want to remind you a little bit that this is exciting that we're able to find something for you. Your daughters are going to be taken care of. They can go to that school. So it's being able to use that emotional side to be able to go through the close. So I know this is kind of high level conceptual stuff, but as you're going through, you're all skilled salespeople. As you're going through and you're looking at what questions you ask your clients, just do a little tag and write down, is that question I'm asking, is that tapping into their logical side of the brain, or is that tapping into the emotional side of the brain, right? So on that note, thank you, everybody. That's all we had for you today. We hope that you all stay nice and safe over this Labor Day weekend. Stay out of the road with drunk drivers there, Dave Dillman. So we like to see you on these
avoid
calls,
that.
my friend.
That's not healthy for your back. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's not good.
I
It's
have a
not
quick,
healthy for anything.
That's right.
I have a
Oh, quick question. Go for
Yeah, you mentioned boot camp. What's that about?
Yeah, so good question, Dave. So
Boot camp.
I'm doing a boot camp. We've got 13 people, which I'm really excited about. So we've got a team of folks around the country actually, and so we're going to be jumping. We're going to do a deep dive into the sales that we're talking about, and then we're going to have some one-on-ones, myself and each of them. Really, Dave, the short of it is, we're going to be hyper focused with a group of folks to get
Okay.
their final expense sales off and running.